This is India at 9, broadcasting live from the CNN IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Rajdeep Sardesai.
Good evening, hello and welcome to India at 9. As always, the news, the newsmakers, the talking points are here on your primetime destination. Tonight, the big story that we are breaking right at the top of India at 9. More revelations in the dark world of fixing and cricket. The big headline at the moment, after the revelations, the cover-up. CNN IBN now learns that at least two top current Indian players could come under the scanner for alleged fixing after their names crop up in the Mudgal committee report. The police, though, has chosen to stop the investigation, which is why the Mudgal report did not actually name the players. That's right, that's the story we are breaking at the moment. First tonight, in what could be a new twist to the controversy over betting and fixing in Indian cricket, the names of two top current Indian players have come under the scanner. The Mudgal panel, which submitted its report to the Supreme Court yesterday on betting and fixing, had asked for these players to be investigated. However, sources in the panel have told CNN IBN that when the police came before the panel, they told them that they had stopped the investigation. In its report, the Mudgal panel had said a former board president had told them about reports of the involvement of two top Indian players in fixing. A senior police officer had also revealed that bookmakers had told them that two top Indian players had been involved in fixing during the IPL. Since the claims could not be verified, the Mudgal panel had suggested further investigation. Deputy Editor Sports Digvijay Singh Deo is joining us on that story. Digvijay, it appears at the moment that there could have been a cover-up, and it is possible that the police is not investigating the leads which were provided to it allegedly by bookmakers and by former board officials.
Yes, and that's what, if you go through the report, while Nilay Datta, who was the third member of the panel, and that report is in the public domain, he mentions on certain occasions when they were investigating Srishant, when they were talking to Srishant had also revealed other names, but the police did not take that forward. There's also an issue in Chennai when they were talking to the Chennai police, certain names came up, but those names were never investigated further, which led to the speculation, and Nilay Datta mentions that right at the end of his report, which is an 84 report, separate from the Mudgal committee report, that were other players also involved and why were they being protected? Why did the police not go forward on those claims even if they were made by bookies?
What are the board officials saying? Given that the report is now in the public domain, what are the board officials say? Are they willing to, as the Mudgal committee is recommending, ask for further investigations, or is the board simply now going to leave it to the Supreme Court to decide whether these top Indian players, and I emphasize the word top because the names that we are being given are really very big names. We are not giving those names in the public domain because remember, these are unverified claims made by bookies. But Digvijay, is the board willing to at least investigate what the report is saying?
You know, Rajdeep, it's very interesting you asked that question because we've been talking to the board, and what they're actually saying is that they're actually going to go and challenge Justice Mudgal report in the Supreme Court on the 7th. So they don't agree with a lot of findings in the report. As far as the other bit goes, there is this issue of a sealed envelope which has been given to the judges, and that clearly shows that there are serious names involved which the committee did not want to put on the public domain, as you mentioned. But the board at the moment is also a view that the Chennai Super Kings have to be saved. What we are hearing from our sources is that the legal team is getting together to ensure that the Chennai Super King, which is owned by the board president, is not tarnished, and because of that they're going to mount a challenge in the Supreme Court against this very report.
Just one final question. Are we therefore to understand with the IPL auction coming on that the board is going to give this impression that all is well? As we are saying, our information is that at least two top Indian players could come under the scanner. There could be as many as 6 whose names are actually coming out. The Chennai Super Kings anti-corruption code should lead to their being suspended. Are you saying that the board is saying all is well, the auction goes ahead without any mention of the Mudgal report?
At the moment, all is well, Rajdeep. The auction is in about 12 hours from now. We are moving ahead. The Chennai Super Kings have not been stopped. The board president reacted yesterday saying, I will see once I get the report. But it's been more than 24 hours. The BCCI has not reacted at all. So clearly all is well. And let's not forget, N. Srinivasan runs the BCCI. He also owns the Chennai Super Kings. And even in the history of the IPL, when the fixing scandal erupted, what did N. Srinivasan say? He said, Gurunath Mayappan is just an enthusiast. Right. So every possible loophole was used to try and save the Chennai franchise.
Okay, we're going to have to wait and look at whether the police, whether the Supreme Court will step in now. Particularly the Supreme Court will step in and force the police into an investigation into the names of these top Indian cricketers allegedly involved in betting and fixing. Digvijay Singh Deo with that piece of breaking news at the top of India at 9. It's now for the big headlines of the day. The US has warmed up to Narendra Modi ahead of the general elections. The big question tonight on India at 9 is Gujarat 2002 no longer an issue in election 2014? The United States set to end its 9-year boycott of the BJP's prime ministerial candidate Narendra Modi. Ambassador Nancy Powell to meet him on Thursday in Gandhinagar but cannot issue a visa immediately as per procedure. That talking point tonight is Gujarat 2002 no longer an issue in election 2014. Also, Arvind Kejriwal takes on the UPA and Reliance. Says they conspired to raise gas prices, asks for an FIR against Mukesh Ambani, Veerappa Moily, Murli Deora. Moily hits back, calls the Delhi Chief Minister ignorant. We'll raise that other talking point tonight. Kejriwal targets Reliance. Where does the truth really lie in gas pricing? The Congress cracks the whip, expels 6 Simandra MPs for giving a no-confidence notice against the government on Telangana. The bill is likely to be tabled in the Lok Sabha on Thursday. The Home Ministry orders a CBI probe into Nido Tanya's murder. The post-mortem had revealed his death was due to internal injuries caused by the attack on him. India's Olympic exile formally ends. The International Olympic Committee lifts its ban on the Indian Association after it holds elections and removes corrupt officials. Penguin Books decides to destroy all copies of a controversial book, The Hindus, an alternative history, as part of a settlement with a litigant. Author Wendy Doniger says she is disappointed with the decision. Talks between the government and Vodafone over takedown after the finance minister says conciliation is not possible. Will Vodafone now have to pay 11,200 crores in tax? And our latest public interest campaign in this election season, the power of 49 to encourage women to vote. CNN-IBN joins hands with Tatas and their latest Jagore campaign to put the woman voter on the political center stage. We'll tell you exactly how on India at 9 tonight. But first tonight on India at 9, is the United States now formally ending its 9-year-long boycott of Narendra Modi? US Ambassador to India Nancy Powell will meet the BJP's prime ministerial candidate later this week in Gandhinagar. The MEA has confirmed that permission for the meeting was sought and has been granted. Reports suggest the US, though, cannot offer a visa to Mr. Modi at the moment in the run-up to the polls, as it might be accused of trying to influence Indian politics. The US has said in the recent past that Modi is free to apply for a visa like any other applicant. Suhasini Heather tells you just why the United States has decided to change its mind.
As an external affairs minister, do you see this as a welcome change of heart because Mr. Modi has actually been given a clean chit by the Supreme Court?
I don't know what she will say to Mr. Modi. I would be interested. We have in the past been lectured by many countries on human rights. In this particular case, what the United States establishment will make of what happened in Gujarat and what they will be saying if that's their first meeting is be interesting to know.
Sir, given the fact that he has already got a clean chit from the Supreme Court, from the special investigation teams that were set up, don't you think the time has perhaps come to forget 2002 or keep it far behind?
I don't know what you mean by forget 2002. I don't know what you mean by Supreme Court giving a clean chit. There is a trial court who was given a clean chit. There are appeals pending in different courts, including in the Supreme Court. Why don't people from Gujarat, the government of Gujarat and Mr. Modi and his establishment speak of what happened to Maya Kodnani?
Is he the best brand ambassador of this country?
Gosh, no. I mean, how would you even ask me this question? The answer is no in as many different languages that I can say it.
Okay, the Congress, of course, has criticized the decision, and there you heard the External Affairs Minister criticizing the decision. But the big question The United States reaching out to Narendra Modi. Is Gujarat 2002 no longer an issue in election 2014? That's the big question that we're raising at the moment. Joining me now, Nirmala Sitharaman, the BJP spokesperson, C.R.Kesavan, the Congress spokesperson, Shabnam Hashmi, social activist who's been taking on a campaign against Narendra Modi in Gujarat, K.C. Singh, former diplomat, and Vinod Mehta, editorial chairman of the Outlook Group. Nirmala Sitharaman, how do you react to this US decision? Is this finally a sense that you have got that with the United States deciding to reach out to Narendra Modi, his isolation in a sense from Washington is over? Is this a moment for you and your party to celebrate?
See, Narendra Modi ji has been announced as the prime ministerial candidate of the BJP, which is the principal opposition party.
Right.
It is a customary practice that most diplomatic representatives of various countries, whoever are present in India, do meet up with the ruling party and the opposition party. And in this case, because now that he is announced as a prime ministerial candidate, maybe the US ambassador chose to call on him.
You don't seem to be too enthused. You don't seem to be too enthused. You almost seem to see that this is routine. The fact is that for 9 years,
it is routine.
But the fact is that for more than a decade, the US has not had formal contact with Narendra Modi. They haven't given him a visa. Is this a moment, you believe, which marks the end of that isolation?
We do not know with the what agenda or what intention the US ambassador is going to meet with the chief minister.
Right.
Certainly, we think as much as other ambassadors would do or high commissioners would do. Here is an ambassador who is coming to meet him, and that's where it lies. But since you seem to be very curious to know about issues which are related to the visa denial and 10 years isolation, as you call it,
yes,
I would want to start off straight away saying that it is disgraceful that the Indian External Affairs Minister, he may go into the technicalities of whether it is the lower court or a higher court or a Supreme Court. There isn't anything at all on Sri Narendra Modi, and above all, if it is the Indian courts which have spoken. And as a External Affairs Minister, even during the last 10 years, it is, yes, the prerogative of the nation which considers, with the country which wants to give the visa, whether they give it or not, and Indian External Affairs Minister cannot do anything to force them to give or to deny. But the statement of Sri Khurshid today,
yes,
almost gives an impression that he's been vicariously enjoying this denial almost as a congressman rather than working as an Indian External Affairs Minister.
So you're saying Salman Khurshid is speaking as a congressman, not as the External Affairs Minister. As an External Affairs Minister, you're saying he should be pushing for Modi to have got the visa in the first place.
I'm also saying, yes, somewhat what you said, I'm also saying,
yes,
as a congressman, even as a congressman, I think a few of them excel in speaking ill about our own country's leaders,
yes,
with media men who come from abroad, and probably even when they are abroad, to talk ill of your political opponents. Narendra Modi ji has gone to China or Japan, never lets down our leaders with whom he doesn't compromise questioning them when they are in this country. He doesn't speak ill of Dr. Manmohan Singh when he goes out. Whereas you had Mr. P. Chidambaram talking to the BBC's correspondents when probably he was in Davos, speaking ill of elected chief minister here.
Okay.
You may have 1,000 differences within India. You may have 1,000 differences within political parties within India. But there is a decorum. This is really taking it to the bottommost pit. And I'm sorry to say that
yes,
these are people holding cabinet positions.
You know, those are very strong words coming from you. You're calling it disgraceful. You're calling it disgraceful what you're saying. Salman Khurshid saying that Modi
can call it disgraceful.
Yeah, the only difference of course being that Khurshid has said this in India, unlike other leaders who you say have said it to foreign correspondents abroad, and you're trying to make that distinction presumably. But Mr. Kesavan of the Congress, is your party being churlish? Is your party not coming to terms with the reality? The US decides to break the ice with Narendra Modi after a decade. Your ally, the NCP, says 2002 should be treated as a closed chapter. Is the Congress being isolated in its attempt to hold Modi accountable for 2002 and sounding churlish, to use the words of Nirmala, disgraceful that you are targeting an elected Chief Minister of India in the context of a foreign country?
Rajdeep, I'll come back to Nirmala Sitharamanji's
let's focus on that.
First, to begin with,
focus on that, because she has used the word, she has used very strong words against your minister. She's called your minister's behavior disgraceful.
I'm coming to that, but please let me start off here by saying there is a big brouhaha. Too much is being made into this 9-year hiatus of people not having contact with Narendra Modi ji. Let me just say one thing. In 2013, March 28th, a Congress delegation from America represented by congressmen and women met Mr. Narendra Modi ji. So this is not something which is happening new. But I think more importantly, what you have to keep in mind is there is a very important body in America. It's an official body which advises the President of America and the Secretary of State. It's called the UN Commission of International Religious Freedom. The Vice Chairperson, Dr. Katrina Lantos Sweat, in January 2014 has categorically said when this issue was raised, this is just a month before, she said terrible things have happened under the leadership of Narendra Modi in Gujarat, and they said grave doubts exist and hang over the head of his role in this, Gujarat riots. This was said by a very, very senior official. So when, this meeting happens here, this is as it's being touted, it's not the first meeting. But Congress delegation has met him, but the real issue is about the visa. So, when Nancy Paul meets her, these things will be factored in. And we should not forget, not just the official government position, even when it happened in the Wharton School and University of Pennsylvania, the students and the faculty protested, and even a video conferencing was cancelled. So
can I get Nirmala ji to respond?
The government, but let me come back to Nirmala.
Yes. Respond to the charge that your government has deliberately singled out Narendra Modi even in international fora.
No, this is, and we talked about the Supreme Court. I'm coming back here. The amicus curiae made such a strong observation that can't be dismissed away. The amicus curiae's observation came because the Supreme Court wanted it. Now the trial court, you can't question the legislative process of this country, sir. There is a trial court, it goes to the High Court, it goes to the Supreme Court. I don't want to get into Maya Kodnani's case here and how she was convicted, for life imprisonment here. But let's come back to the issue here. It's not the question of whether the US is going to give a visa to Narendra Modi. It's the question of whether the people of India will give a visa to Mr. Narendra Modi to represent our country. And I think the answer is a definitive no.
No, that's the question. That's the question. Hold on. Are you, let's be honest. Just a minute now, Mr. Kesavan. You are saying that the people of India will decide whether they want to give a visa to Narendra Modi. Presumably what you are saying is if the people of India then decide that Mr. Modi is to be their prime ministerial candidate, then it doesn't matter what Washington does or says. The critical question is in India. But Nirmala Sitharaman, you wanted to respond to what you heard from Mr. Kesavan, that there are still dissenting voices even in the US who still at the highest official level still have criticism of the way he handled 2002. To that extent, 2002 still impinges even in 2014.
I just want to repeat how the Congress party, without even thinking about what they are speaking, go about telling us things as though they are the final word. USCSIR, United States, religious freedom wala body which he is referring to, doesn't speak about anything, and they are American funded organization. They are not a government body. Let him get his facts right. That is one thing. They may receive funds from the American government, but they are not a government body. One thing. Even if they were a government body, are they superior to our own courts? What is this? I mean, are we trying to say, just as some NGOs, even at the case where pending in the SIT was collecting information as per the Supreme Court's order, went seeking justice from the international court, as though the Indian courts cannot deliver justice. Similar is the Congress spokesperson's approach, saying, oh, court, the body which takes care of religious freedom. I'm sorry, these kind of references undermine our own institutions. And the respect that the congressmen have for our own institutions comes out very clearly. One thing. Second, he's talking about the legislative and legal process. I'm not sure what he referred to. If he's talking about the people of India, not giving a mandate for Modi, I'm sorry. 2002, 2007 and 2012, people of Gujarat have voted for him. If at all you want to have public mandate as a, criteria, other than the court and the court giving a clean sheet, are the people of Gujarat not Indian citizens? What is the Congress spokesperson talking about?
Hold on.
Sorry, this is shameful.
Okay, hold on. You know, before I again make this typical Congress BJP, let me widen it. Shabnam Hashmi, I want a quick response. Sustained campaign by you and other activists to ensure that Modi is denied a visa to the US. Now the EU has reached out to him, the United Kingdom has reached out to him, today the US seems to be reaching out to him. Do you accept that as Modi's political stars rise, your voice is getting less traction compared to what it was a decade ago? Increasingly, for many, 2002 is a distant memory. The US has decided he could well be India's next Prime Minister. We need to deal with it.
Well, the US ambassador is meeting Mr. Modi around the Valentine's Day, which is surely a signal of what kind of message they are taking to him. Yes, what you are saying, that these saner voices in this country are getting drowned. These saner voices which are resisting an authoritarian and dictator like man who is Mr. Narendra Modi.
You feel marginalized today? You feel that your voice is getting marginalized?
Yes, the voices are getting marginalized, and there are no two opinions about it, because the national consciousness is moving towards the right, and the authoritarian character of Mr. Narendra Modi is taking over the
I'll come to that point. I'll come to whether he's authoritarian and your criticism of him. But Vinod Mehta, it appears that the clean chit given by the SIT and by a lower court, trial court in Ahmedabad, is now being used in a sense to vindicate Mr. Modi. To that extent, is 2002 politically irrelevant? What the United States is doing today, maybe in a sense other countries will do tomorrow. Maybe this country will also vindicate Mr. Modi if they elect him. Do you believe his vindication lies in what happens in this country in 2014, or does it lie in the US giving him a visa? Do you believe 2002 no longer issue?
Rajdeep.
Yes, go ahead.
Rajdeep, can I just make a small comment on this visa question? It's very important.
Please go ahead.
You see, there should be some euphoria in the BJP and amongst Narendra Modi at what the US has done. But I think they should remember that the US did it at the last minute. The European Union and Britain did it about 2 years ago. So America waited till the last minute to recognize Mr. Modi. Secondly, Mr. Modi will still find it difficult to go to Britain because he might get arrested there. If you remember, two British citizens were killed in the Gujarat riots. They have filed cases in Britain, and the lawyer has said that if Mr. Modi steps on British soil, he will be arrested.
Yes.
And and in 2005, Mr. Modi was supposed to go to Britain. When he heard about this kind of arrest, he cancelled his trip. So this is one factor. Now, as far as this question of the resonance of 2002 riots, of course they are becoming less and less important for the people of India, because there is some kind of 2002 fatigue. We seem to be going around in circles. And Mr. Modi is like a cat with 9 lives. He gets off at every stage. And I think the conclusion that most people are drawing is the fact that perhaps Mr. Modi did not have anything to do with the riots. So there's no question that Mr. Modi is benefiting from the fact that the Supreme Court and the trial court, etc., are not able to pin him down.
He's not.
But Rajdeep, one last point: if Mr. Salman Khurshid has said what Nirmala Sitharaman is saying, and if he has compared Gujarat with the Holocaust, I think this is completely over the top, and it's a very reckless comment. So he has made it.
So you actually,
I criticize it.
Right. You know, before I come to you, KC Singh, let me just get the Congress on that. You know, this demonization of Modi, comparing it to Holocaust. Let's accept Gujarat 2002 happened. More than 1,000 people died. Narendra Modi as Chief Minister must take some responsibility, just as Rajiv Gandhi will have to take responsibility at one level for 1984, or a Sudhakar Naik and Sharad Pawar for 92-93 Mumbai. But to liken it to the Holocaust, to demonize Modi permanently, is that not subject to the law of diminishing returns? Is that not a strategic, politically strategic blunder that the Congress is committing. And to do that, as Nirmala Sitharaman says,
it stronger.
It makes his position stronger.
That's right. Make Modi's position stronger.
He almost becomes a victim. Respond to that, Mr. Kesavan, that rather than challenging him politically by calling him names.
Rajdeep, 3 points.
Yes. Quickly.
Rajdeep, 3 points. This is what the people of India are facing here. You can't shout out the truth by, using an aggressive posture. The International Religious Freedom is a federal commission where the commissioner is appointed by the President of America. Please let them check the facts. You can't digress from the fact here. Please check it. Coming back to the elections of 2002 and 2007 in Gujarat, what happened in Gujarat was soundly rejected by what happened in India. UPA won. Please keep that in mind. More importantly, fundamental difference, if you permit me, I just want to say here. On one side, we have the Congress party with the values bequeathed to us by our founding fathers. You bring unity by celebrating diversity. On the other hand, antithesis to the idea of the values of our founding fathers. BJP and RSS who says bring in unity by imposing uniformity.
Mr. Kesavan, Mr. Kesavan, you're not answering my question.
Let me make one point.
Mr. Kesavan, you're not answering my question, which is the demonization of Narendra Modi is subject to the law of diminishing returns. Do you concede that or not? That is not enough. You cannot.
Not at all. Let me make one point. Please, sir, permit me.
Yes.
Let me make one point. I'll just give you one example if you permit me, because the BJP person had her time. Please give me 1 minute. See, you take the classic case which came up to the Supreme Court in 2008 when it came to implementing, pre-matriculation scholarships for minority students. Simple scheme, wonderful scheme for all the 5, minority, community students.
Yes.
What happens? The whole country implements it, and it had a clause where annual earnings should be under 1 lakh and they should show good marks. Only Gujarat didn't implement that.
Nobody is saying you can't fight him politically to liken it to the Holocaust. To liken it to the Holocaust. To liken Gujarat 2002 to the Holocaust as a minister or to go as Mr.
The verdict is, sir, let us not make it about Mr. Salman Khurshid today. The issue is about Mr. Modi. The Supreme Court put their foot down in May 6 saying they should implement this. Why are they having this selective amnesia when it comes to the minority people of India? And let me ask you one question. And the argument by the Gujarat government was, we don't want to give minority scholarships because this is a reflection of what happened in Gujarat. This is targeting. They said we don't want to do it because let them be treated economically equal.
Mr. Kesavan, you are giving your arguments, but you are not responding whether it's subject to the law of diminishing returns. I'll come back to you. No, hold on.
Rajdeep.
Yes, Nirmala ji.
Pointed questions for to the Congress spokesperson.
Yes.
I want to ask if he's so worried about, riots and, the political responsibility and everything else. Mrs. Indira Gandhi is answerable for what happened in Delhi. 3,000 Muslims died there. She held election within a week. Till today, that report has not been tabled in Assam's assembly. What is the Congress doing about it? Last 10 years they've been in power there.
Can I come back to the US?
If 1 minute. Just I'll finish it.
Yes.
The question is, you talk about the Religious Freedom Wala Council, federal funded one. You should get your facts corrected and all that. Then let me ask you. A summon has been issued to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi for shielding and protecting people who went on rampage, killed people. Now, if you really think of courts abroad are all that very, very important, then what kind of recommendation would you make for Mrs. Sonia Gandhi?
No, hold on. Now, before I let Mr. Kesavan reply, I want to bring in KC Singh on the simple point. Back to the United States. Is what we have seen today, the US now formally asking a meeting with Narendra Modi, the ambassador going to meet him on Thursday, a sign of US pragmatism? That in diplomacy, ultimately countries look at their national interests, and it's the national interest of the United States today to look at Narendra Modi as a potential prime ministerial candidate. Therefore, what was seen at one level over the last decade as some kind of an ideological human rights debate is now in the national interest sphere, where the United States has decided dealing with Modi is the way forward.
Thank you, Rajdeep. Finally, I can have a say. Yes, I agree with you. This was inevitable. It was bound to happen, and I don't see why there was anxiety shown by BJP in the past. In any case, it's very sad that we are making an issue which should remain a domestic issue into an international problem, and therefore letting the Americans decide for us who is or isn't acceptable, because the Americans are known to apply these principles differentially. If they were going by human rights rules applied universally, How would any American, how would any Chinese president ever get a visa because of what happens in Tibet or the Uyghurs? In fact, there is a Spanish court today which is prosecuting 2 former presidents of China. But the Americans merrily give them the visa. And similarly, when was a visa denied to anyone who was named in case of the Sikh killings in Delhi or the riots in Maharashtra? So let's not universalize it. Let's not use the Americans to score points. They will act as their interests dictate. And therefore, human protection of human rights is only a cover. We can also have Indian courts go into American actions in Afghanistan or the killings there.
Are you saying that our government should have worked overtime to ensure that Narendra Modi got a visa in this decade, or our government used human rights activists, used perhaps interest groups on Capitol Hill to target Narendra Modi? Is that what you're saying? And thereby we played into US hands?
No. No, I am saying that this is a double-edged sword and Congress should be very careful when wielding it, and BJP also should be careful when defending with it. Let this be an issue that is settled domestically. Let's not look for character certificates from Americans, or one side feeling very happy a visa is denied, or the other side feeling very despondent that the visa is now going to be given, because the Americans will give it in terms of their interests. Let's look at the issue in terms of what our courts say, what our people decide in India, and government of India. I would have preferred if the Congress and particularly the minister had not jumped into this, and certainly the words he has used are definitely avoidable.
You make a good point. Character certificate. Shabnam Hashmi, many activists like yourself believed that if you could not win the battle against Modi here, one battle was to be fought in the courts, the other battle was to be fought in Capitol Hill. That somehow you had to prevent Narendra Modi from getting a visa to go to the United States, because that would be a character certificate for Narendra Modi. How true is that? That activists believed that this was an important part of your plank against Narendra Modi. And to that extent, did you willy-nilly allow this issue to get internationalized? Did you willy-nilly allow the demonization of Modi?
No, I don't think that we have a role to any role in making Modi, a demon. The thing is that there is reality which exists. Whether you like it or not, 2002 is not going to leave Mr. Modi, whether it is inside India, whether it is outside India. And 2002 is just the beginning of his journey, which begins from 2002.
Are you saying that 2002 will never leave Mr. Modi, irrespective of what the courts of this country decide? At the moment it's trial court, it will go to a higher court, it may go to the Supreme Court. Are you saying that till that judicial process is exhausted, Narendra Modi cannot be rid of the taint of 2002?
One, that the judicial process is not exhausted,
yes,
as of now. Second, there have been many other dictators who have been tried after they have gone out of power, because while they were in power it was not possible. Everything was tried, still nothing happened to them.
Do you concede?
Let me finish that. I am saying that Modi's journey starts from 2002, and the last 12 years have on the ground displayed how he has demolished every democratic institution.
Did you actively lobby against Modi to ensure that he didn't get a visa? Was that a critical element of your strategy to isolate Narendra Modi?
There are groups. There is a whole group which is called Coalition Against Genocide, which is a diaspora group in the US, which lobbied for it, and they did, whenever they required our help, they did contact us. Yes, we did.
Okay, you did. Vinod Mehta, do you believe in hindsight that was a mistake for the Shabnam Hashmis of the world to lobby actively with Capitol Hill to deny Narendra Modi a visa? Do you believe that was the wrong step?
As it is already said, there is a commission on international religious freedom.
There is a commission, but Indian activists did pitch and did present their case to them.
Well, the commission goes to all the countries and meets the activists.
Okay.
Similarly, it met the Indian activists also and found the ground situation.
Vinod Mehta, go ahead, then I'll come to you, Nirmal. Yes, Vinod. No, ma'am, just a minute.
Rajdeep, Shabnam Hashmi probably...
Well, yeah, let Vinod speak and then Nirmala. Yes, Vinod.
Rajdeep, Shabnam probably forgot that the business of the United States is business. And I think you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see why they are doing what they are doing. He's likely to be the next Prime Minister of India. Come on. I mean, how can you have a situation where the next Prime Minister of India can't enter the United States? But coming back to the whole question of 2002, it's not just a question of Mr. Modi. It's also a question of how the Congress handled Mr. Modi and attacked Mr. Modi on the 2002 riots. And I think mostly they shot themselves in the foot. If you remember, in the last state elections, they did not even raise the issue because they were so scared. And I think the Congress is responsible for Mr. Modi get this perception that the Congress is out to get Mr. Modi and that Mr. Modi has actually no role in the 2002 riots.
Right.
So in many ways the Congress has come to the aid of Mr. Modi in the perception war. They've handled the attack on Mr. Modi very, very badly.
Okay, let me though come back to you, Nirmala Sitharaman. You wanted to respond. This whole notion of a character certificate, activists believing that there are groups abroad which are, human rights is a serious issue in the United States. We've seen that even when Narendra Modi wanted to make a speech via video conference, there were activists in the United States who raised questions. Do you believe, as Shabnam Hashmi is saying, Nirmala Sitharaman, that 2002 in that sense will always shadow your prime ministerial candidate?
Rajdeep, let's not forget
yes,
that if you're really worried about and if you want to highlight the United States for its human rights, are you forgetting very recently how Cobra Gade was treated? Where was human rights at that time? And American drone operations are an issue in Pakistan and neighboring Afghanistan also.
I take that, but what you are keen? The point that K.C. Singh made. K.C. Singh made, why was the BJP so keen that Narendra Modi get a visa? Why was the Congress so desperate to prevent him from getting a visa? Both of you played into the hands of Washington.
Absolutely not. Please listen to me and then conclude.
Yes.
Even when I started out giving you answer, you said, wow, what is this? Why are you not excited about it? I said it's a normal practice that ambassadors meet. So don't attribute to us what we have not displayed at all. One thing. Second is with Syria, the problem which is going on there, human rights violation. We are not talking about that in the context of the Americans. And I'm very grateful, in fact, I'm using the word grateful for Shabnam Hashmi for admitting so forthrightly that they did campaign in the name of religious freedom to a federal commission there, which is funded by the American authorities. But if I know, because twice when I've gone through the details of the report, I've also come to know that if there was one representative of that commission coming here for religious freedom, there were 10 of our local chosen groups who prepared the report for them. State governments have had objections for that. You're preparing, locals who are chosen are preparing reports about India's human rights and sending it to an American funded agency on whose human rights records none of these people will even have a word to say. This is India first for us, right?
Okay.
And therefore, Rajdeep, about this cottage industry which has been flourishing for 10 years with Congress funds, I think less said the better.
You're making very strong comments today, but Mr. Kesavan, do you want to respond?
Absolutely.
You heard, I'm taking what Mr. K.C. Singh said, which is that the BJP was making the mistake of showing a certain amount of keenness that Mr. Modi get a US visa, almost like a character certificate, and the Congress was desperate to deny him that. Respond to that we allowed the United States in a sense to become the arbiter of our own domestic human rights record.
Which we have been
not at all, Rajiv. I told you in the beginning. I told you in the beginning there was a Congress delegation.
Yes.
Let me answer, please.
Yes, please answer.
You very clearly, I very clearly told you this is about the 80 crore voters of India. Even by last year, you had a Congress delegation meet Mr. Modi. That's not the issue. Let me come back to two issues here. Harsh words were used. That's how they plummeted the level of public discourse. I won't do that. I will not do that. Let me complete.
Yes.
Let me complete. I didn't interrupt when you spoke, madam. Let me complete.
Yes.
Two things I'll tell you, sir. Rahul Gandhi made a statement yesterday expressing regret very graciously, as done, saying that the Chaiwala comment was not attributed to the Congress. People who sell tea are good people. People who drive taxis are good people. People who are farmers are good people. They work hard. Let me say this, it's not, we respect the people who sell tea, but the problem here with the BJP and RSS is they're not selling tea. They're selling the politics of division. They're selling the politics of parochialism. They're selling the politics of sectarianism. That is one issue. The second issue we'll fight on this is very clear. They talk about the Gujarat model. State Health Department in the 11 rupees, 17 rupees issue said, 34 lakh families earn under 11 and 17 rupees.
You're not again Mr. Kesavan. Mr. Kesavan, hold on. No, Mr. Kesavan, please answer my question. Do you believe the Congress made a mistake in trying to show an extra desperation almost to prevent Mr. Modi from getting a US visa? I just want to know that.
When did we, let me say one thing, sir, if you see the way the visa was rejected, I'll give you the exact words.
Did the Congress make any effort to ensure that an elected Chief Minister of India got a US visa?
Why should we? When did the Congress make that effort? Yeah?
We made sure justice was meted out to Devayani Khobragade. Please let me speak, sir. I'm being interrupted.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm being interrupted, please. Yeah. You saw the way we fought for Devayani Khobragade. You saw the way justice was meted out. That is what we stand for. We are hardly concerned about what Modi does with America and what America thinks about Modi. America is not going to decide the elections here. The people of India are going to decide.
Okay.
We are not, we have no problem. We never have a...
Okay, you made your point. You made your point. Shabnam, you wanted to make a quick point before I end with Casey. You wanted to make a quick point on the Congress thing. Well, was the Congress also, just like activists, was the Congress extra keen to prevent Modi from getting a character certificate from Washington?
I remember the first time Modi was denied a visa, there was an official statement by the government saying that as a elected chief minister he should have got the visa. That was telecast on everything. I think if the Congress was serious about taking on Modi in 2004 when UPA 1 came to power, there was enough evidence, there is enough evidence. They could have prosecuted him and he would have been behind bars and not roaming out freely like he is now.
I'm going to give the final word. Those are all very strong words, of course, that are coming in. But at the moment, the fact is, K.C. Singh, Narendra Modi at the moment is front runner to be the next Prime Minister of India. Do you therefore believe that this tag of him having been the Chief Minister when Gujarat 2002 happened will no longer affect him? Should he become the Prime Minister, will it in any way affect his equations with Western powers, particularly Washington?
No, I think the signals have they've been sending for many months. That's why the British High Commissioner had met him. And in fact, the US Ambassador would have met him even earlier, were it not for the Khobragade incident. They were trying to engineer something in Delhi which didn't work out. Therefore, it's only inevitable. That's why I've always maintained that in a situation like this, wait till you become the Prime Minister. As I said, which Chinese president has ever been denied a visa by the Americans?
Okay.
So these are, Americans use it selectively. It's a stick they use to beat the other people with. Okay. And we shouldn't fall victim to this.
Okay, my friend Vinod Mehta as always wants the final word. Quickly, Vinod, 30 seconds.
But everyone is assuming.
Yeah, just a minute. I'm not assuming that Modi is becoming the Prime Minister. Shabnam Ashmi. I am not assuming that. I have never said that. I said he's the front runner. Go ahead, Vinod Mehta.
The stain of 2002 will never leave Mr. Narendra Modi. But surely we have to concede that it is becoming less and less prominent. It is becoming less and less striking.
Okay.
And the Congress is responsible for making Mr. Modi appear less guilty than he was.
Okay. On that note, let's leave it at that. That's the note which has been struck by Vinod Mehta. I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate all my panelists joining us on our talking point tonight. Let's raise our editor's take tonight. The denial of a US visa has perhaps rankled with Narendra Modi and his supporters, although they may not admit as much in public. With the Gujarat Chief Minister now the front runner to be the next Prime Minister, Washington perhaps has no choice but to warm up to Modi. Poll surveys have consistently shown that the 2002 riots matter less and less to the Indian voter. Yes, his handling of the communal violence will always shadow his claim that he is the right man to lead India, but demonizing Modi through the prism of the past may be subject now to diminishing returns, as Washington seems to have realized. Capitol Hill is within reach of the BJP's PM candidate. The bigger prize, though, remains the national capital. Welcome back tonight to our other big focus. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal opening up a new front yet again. He attacked the UPA government and Reliance Industries, accusing them of conspiring to raise gas prices and also asking for an FIR against Mukesh Ambani, Veerappa Moily, Murli Deora. Congress hitting back with Moily calling the Delhi Chief Minister ignorant. Rupashri Nanda now reports.
श्री मुरली देवरा के खिलाफ क्रिमिनल केस फाइल किया जा रहा है। श्री वीरप्पा मोइली के खिलाफ एफआईआर दर्ज की जा रही है, श्री मुकेश अंबानी जी के खिलाफ एफआईआर दर्ज की जा रही है।
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in full-blown Lok Sabha election mode. Why else would the Chief Minister of Delhi raise an issue which is not directly related to the Delhi state government?
What does worry me is the logic that because the union government is in Delhi, all decisions of the union government, if somebody alleges corruption, are subject to the jurisdiction of Delhi government, will raise very serious federal issues.
Kejriwal is accusing the government of India of colluding with Reliance Industry and increasing the price of gas from $4.2 per million British thermal unit to $8. Incidentally, the matter is in the court, but that doesn't stop Arvind Kejriwal from taking on corporates and politicians.
It is not the question of Mukesh or Devara or everybody. He should know that there should be certain system for fixing the prices.
The Delhi government says it has acted on a common complaint by 4 people. Former Cabinet Secretary Mr. T.S.R. Subramaniam, former Secretary to the Government of India E.A.S. Sarma, noted Supreme Court lawyer Kamini Jaiswal and retired Naval Chief R.H. Tahiliani. But remember, this is an issue that was raised by Arvind Kejriwal even during the run-up to the elections. But what is Arvind Kejriwal's strategy? The main reason why the Delhi Chief Minister is raising this issue is his firm conviction that such national issues will fetch him supporters in urban areas outside Delhi. By targeting RIL, he wants to push the point that when it comes to corporate corruption, neither the Congress nor the BJP are serious. And finally, he is planning to generate enough heat over the next few days to make it difficult for the Congress to keep supporting him. In election season, get ready for some more revelations and demands from Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party. In New Delhi, Rupashri Nanda.
Now, Reliance Industries has issued a statement this evening. It says the complaint and each of the allegations on the basis of which the Delhi government has taken such action are completely baseless, devoid of any merit or substance whatsoever. We deny these irresponsible allegations and propose to resort to the available legal remedies to protect our reputation and preserve the pioneering efforts and investment made by Reliance. Story: Kejriwal targets Reliance. Where does the truth lie in gas pricing? Joining me now, Yogendra Yadav, the Aam Aadmi Party's chief spokesperson, Sanjoy Joshi, former Joint Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Director at ORF, and Siddharth Zarabi, formerly with CNBC TV18 and senior journalist. Appreciate all of you joining us. Before I come to the issue of gas pricing, Yogendra Yadav, there is the political issue. The fact is that this issue of gas pricing has been raised by Gurudas Dasgupta, among others, in Parliament. Mr. Dasgupta has even taken it to courts. The fact is that this has been in the public domain for some time. Why now suddenly does Arvind Kejriwal come up with it? He is Delhi's chief minister. He is now raising an issue which many would say is not directly relevant to his role as chief minister. He is simply trying to once again gain some kind of media space, media mileage.
Rajdeep, I must begin by complimenting you first of all. I must honestly say I've known you, I've known this channel. I wasn't entirely sure if the story would be played out and you would actually have a discussion on this subject on your channel. I must salute you. Indian media must retain this kind of independence and autonomy from its investors, from those put money in the channels. Having said that, I think Rajdeep,
maybe let me just pause. I'll let you, but maybe this is the way in which the Aam Aadmi Party sees the world. At the moment, if a corporate has invested in a news channel, automatically independence is compromised. Everyone else is compromised except for an Aam Aadmi Party member. But be that as it may, go ahead.
No, Rajdeep, it's natural for someone to think that those who own or have invested huge amounts in a channel would have some say. And it's good to see that in a channel, although there is a huge investment by that company, there is some possibility of free discussion. And I'm actually complimenting you for that. Thank you. On the politics of it, Rajdeep, now that I have the opportunity to say it, we are looking at the biggest frauds on this country. I do not normally use strong languages. We are, Rajdeep, looking at one of the biggest scams in the history of this country. We are looking at a scam when 2 union ministers have been thrown out, not one. Remember what happened to Manishankar Iyer? Remember what happened to Jaipal Reddy? 2 union ministers have been thrown out for not towing the line of a company. A company wants prices to be increased. Union ministers are reluctant, they are thrown out. all kinds of mechanisms have been used. And all that we should say as citizen of India today is, thank God someone is able to raise this question. Thank God someone has actually registered a case about it. Thank God someone is doing an inquiry. Yes, I welcome the statement given by Reliance company. Yes, they have every right to protect their reputation, and they have quite a reputation, as everyone knows.
No,
yes, they should defend their reputation.
Yogendra,
and if this is untrue, yes, they would come out clean. All that the Delhi government has done is to order an inquiry.
No, the point I'm making that why is the Delhi government ordering an inquiry, Yogendra, when the CAG has already raised the issue? Gurudas Dasgupta has taken it to the courts. Is this Arvind Kejriwal simply trying to jump on the bandwagon? It's not as if other politicians or other constitutional authorities have not raised the issue of gas pricing.
Rajdeep, CAG doing an inquiry into something does not preclude criminal investigation. Normally CAG is followed by criminal investigation, so these supplement one another. If other agencies have not done it, I think it's only fair to ask others why they have not done it. In fact, that's the whole problem. And Rajdeep, in this country, it's easy to target the Prime Minister, it's easy to talk about UPA President or anyone else. The most difficult thing in this country is to speak about the Super Sarkar, which is Mr. Ambani. And the pattern of former bureaucrats becoming Ambani employees later is such a standard pattern in this country. I mean, these are open secrets of this country. I'm glad we are talking about this on a television channel. It is an open secret that the government is run by Mr. Ambani. Didn't someone say that Congress is his dukaan? Didn't someone say that he controls BJP and Congress both? Someone has taken the step, Rajdeep, and I think this is a moment when we should step back and say, thank God in this country these questions can be talked about.
Okay, at the moment you're saying there's a perception that this country is Ambani's dukaan, that he is the superman of this country. These are perceptions. Let's turn to the facts of gas pricing.
Not this country, the two leading parties. Thank God this country is not Mr. Ambani's dukaan. Congress and BJP are Mr. Ambani's dukaan.
Okay, let's for a moment turn and come back to the central question then of pricing. Whether indeed there has been the scam that you call it, the biggest fraud. Sanjay Joshi, former Joint Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum. Is there a fraud in the manner in which gas pricing has been done? Has it been done in a manner to give windfall profits to the Ambanis?
First of all, Rajdeep, I must compliment Mr. Kejriwal. He seemed to have learned the tricks of his newfound trade very well, which is not to let facts come in the way of some good sound bites. Now let us get to the basic facts.
Yes.
First of all, the case is already, there is a PIL file, there are in fact two PILs filed in the Supreme Court. The same issues which have been raised are the subject of those PILs. The Supreme Court is going into this issue. Now for a party which has been deriding the corruption, the Delhi police, and talking about how incompetent and ineffective they are, to suddenly have more faith in Delhi's Anti-Corruption Bureau rather than in the Supreme Court of India, and raise this issue again and file a FIR in the ACB, I do not understand. Why could these issues not have been agitated in the Supreme Court, which is already seized of the matter?
Okay, I'm coming back to pricing. The central issue is whether from April 1, if prices increase to $8, will it result in a 44,000 crore profit for Reliance Industries, which is according to the Aam Aadmi Party, according to Gurudas Dasgupta, clearly windfall profits designed to benefit one company, classic case of crony capitalism. That's the accusation. Is $8 a fair amount? Has this amount been fairly fixed?
First of all, I do not think they have bothered to read the gas pricing order. The gas pricing order raises the price of all gas in India, not just Reliance's gas. And Reliance's gas is just 15% of the gas being produced in the country at this point in time. Secondly, most important, the order is conditional. The order says very clearly that in case Reliance is found to have committed any of these frauds, if there is evidence of underproduction, it does not get the benefit of these new prices. So the price order has been applied to Reliance in an exceptional case. It's an exception.
But they are the big beneficiary. Let's be clear. Reliance is a major beneficiary from the private sector.
They are the largest. They are not the largest beneficiary. 15% of the gas is being produced by them. The rest of it is all being produced by ONGC and other producers who are also getting the benefit of the same gas prices. This, what it does do is make certain new fields of ONGC, JSPC and perhaps Reliance, which are not even anywhere on the horizon yet, perhaps viable not from April the 1st, 2014, but perhaps in 2017, 2018, 2019, we do not know. At the moment, blocks are being surrendered. 12 blocks have been surrendered. In 2018, no gas may be left.
Okay, can I come to you, Siddharth Sarabi? Where does the truth lie? You've heard two very different stories being told. Where does the truth lie? What do your journalistic instincts tell you? Is there something here which needs to be investigated? The manner in which the contracts were decided by the Petroleum Ministry? Did they confer undue benefit on Reliance? And if so, how?
Well, Rajdeep, you know, the first thing really is that while Mr. Yogendra Yadav and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party have come to this issue recently, this is not an issue that, you know, is not known to people and especially reporters like us. And while Mr. Yadav seems to compliment us as media and your channel for picking up this issue, the fact is that the media is independent. I think it's part of the shoot and scoot strategy that the Aam Aadmi Party employs on various issues to now also target the media which has actually made them quite a bit, and also to talk about former people from certain professions joining a company. Well, that would apply to the Aam Aadmi Party. But on the issue that you asked me, Rajdeep, yes, the key question is, who is the arbiter of gas pricing in India? We have raised this issue, and if we just move out of gas pricing, because remember, gas does not drive the economy of this country. Gas is not the preferred and the primary and the most voluminous fuel that is used for producing power in this country. It has a small yet significant share. There are other kinds of fuels that do it. And the key question really is, when it comes to the under-recoveries, the real target is the manner in which under-recoveries have been calculated by the state-owned oil marketing companies, and despite several reports, that issue has not been addressed. So to pick up a particular company like RIL, then to talk about its corporate investments in an unrelated area, and then to say that there is collusion of various kinds is, I think, very, very condemnable.
But Siddharth, you know that the CAG also has raised issues of the manner in which the contracts were signed, and the CAG has raised the issue of what they believe is loss to the exchequer.
Well, Rajdeep, if there is a loss to the exchequer, and if the CAG has said that, the CAG has also said several things about several other matters which have still yet to be tested in terms of the soundness of the theory. But remember, if there is a higher market price that a producer of any particular commodity gets in this sector, the government also stands to benefit. But to your original question about pricing and windfall gains, the fact of the matter is that the UPA government in the last 10 years has manufactured this controversy for lack of proper political decision making, despite having so many lawyers and economists. The fact is, why does the government at all need to get into price fixation of gas when telecom prices can be left to the market, when other commodity prices can be left to market forces and competitive forces to take a play? Why does the government have to do it? And the government lands itself in trouble because the manner in which they execute these decisions gives opportunity to people or political parties to make political capital out of it. Political entrepreneurship is actually damaging capital entrepreneurship, which will create jobs, and the manner in which the Aam Aadmi Party is trivializing serious economic techno-commercial issues is going to lead to a situation where everyone is with his back to the wall, including the media.
Can I just come back? Let's forget the rhetoric for a moment. Let's come back to the hard facts again. Yogendra Yadav, when we come to the hard facts are there was a committee appointed by the government. The Rangarajan committee appointed by the government decided on the pricing policy. Effectively what the Aam Aadmi Party seems to be saying is every government committee, every minister, barring the few who you believe resisted it, are all compromised. That Reliance has compromised the Rangarajan committee, Reliance has compromised the Prime Minister's office, Reliance has compromised the minister. Therefore, all these prices which have been fixed have been arbitrarily fixed to benefit a particular organization. Now, surely this is an issue which needs to be determined by experts, not necessarily caught in political rhetoric, because it will get you space perhaps for a day or two and get you headlines. How much of this is driven by headlines that you want? How much of it is driven by a complete cynicism about the way the system works now?
Rajdeep, it is not just the Aam Aadmi Party, which is surely out there to get votes and to win elections. But Mr. T.S.R. Subramaniam is not there to get votes and get elected. I don't think he's seeking a ticket. I don't think the Transparency International head, Admiral Tehliani, we are speaking of some of the most distinguished and honest people of this country. None of them is a member of Aam Aadmi Party. None of them is seeking a ticket. These are people who have put in their life into fighting for honesty in this country. These are the 4 people who have written to the Chief Minister of Delhi, and all the facts have been put together by them. Yes, it is absolutely correct, as my independent, did I hear independent commentators say that these are not new? Of course these are not new. We are not claiming a journalist investigative award. These are not new. The only thing new is that for the first time a criminal investigation has been ordered, and thank God it has been ordered. Why are people so worried about it? If Reliance company is so sure that all the facts are clear, I can assure him that an Aam Aadmi Party committee is not going to investigate the matter. It is the legal criminal system of this country which is going to investigate. Why are they so worried?
Are you saying that the ACB, are you saying that the Anti-Corruption Bureau is the right forum, not the Supreme Court of the country, Yogendra?
Nothing is above the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is not a criminal investigating body. These are all CBI, ACB, police, IB, all these different things report finally to the courts. So where is the conflict? And if the Supreme Court feels there is a conflict, I'm sure tomorrow they'll give an order and say nonsensical, stop this inquiry. The Supreme Court is very much embodied. So surely in this television studio we don't believe we are more powerful than the Supreme Court. If Supreme Court thinks it's illegal, they'll order a shutdown tomorrow morning. Why are we so worried?
Okay.
I heard lots of very interesting things as well. I heard that it is conditional order. But Rajdeep, the whole story of rise of Reliance House is the story of conditional proper orders issued where every single conditionality is thrown to the wind. And why is it thrown to the wind? Because people who work in the ministries where Reliance's interests are involved, they are bought. Bureaucrats are bought 2 years before they resign.
Okay.
I'm using a very strong language
again. You are using strong
language in Delhi.
Yes, you are using strong language.
You would know what has been happening in this city for the last 20 years.
I have a former bureaucrat. I have a former bureaucrat who now works with the ORF. I have a former bureaucrat who now works with the ORF.
ORF is an organization fully supported by the Reliance company.
Yes. So I'm going to ask Sanjay Joshi to respond to what you heard, that Reliance buys off all the bureaucrats that are there in the petroleum ministry, that Reliance buys off every minister, and therefore the Aam Aadmi Party says that there should be an independent criminal investigation. This cannot be investigated either by the government or by the courts.
No one objects to criminal investigation. The Supreme Court has been supervising criminal investigations, if you've seen in the coal scam. They've been also doing it in a 2G case. So this case is under their jurisdiction. Please let them get on with the proceedings. Why this sudden brouhaha about gas pricing at this particular point of time when a conditional order has been issued, when the second fact also is that under the same contracts, oil is being sold at international prices are being bought in this country in spite of subsidies there. So why create this whole fuss about gas pricing, which is a non-existent fuss?
Gas pricing, a non-existent fuss, really, Siddharth Zarabi? Let's again be clear.
One of the most extraordinary things that I've heard. Non-existent thing, fuss, astonishing.
Siddharth,
Mr. Yadav,
yes.
Again, see, that is the whole point. Mr. Yadav is someone that we all respect as journalists, but the fact is, Mr. Yadav, I wouldn't like to ask you this, but if we were to ask you the international price of gas right now, or the international price of diesel or petrol, my question to you would be, why don't you allow independent experts, and including the Supreme Court of India, on which in the past everybody has relied and followed their orders, to do this? Where is the contract, if I may ask you, between the state government of Delhi and the producer or the consumer of this gas for the state government to step in?
But Siddharth, let's be clear. Siddharth, let's be clear. Many of these contracts have lacked. No, Siddharth, I must intervene. Many of these contracts are believed to have lacked transparency. The process which has been arrived at appears to have lacked transparency over the years. You know very well, there were two petroleum ministers of this country who reportedly had raised red flags at various stages. Now, this is...
so did the finance minister. Rajdeep, you are absolutely right. And if we were allowed to speak facts instead of rhetoric, it is a fact that the finance ministry itself, on this gas price order, a signed note with the approval of Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, had raised several serious questions. We are not on the issue of whether the government, the second UPA and Mr. Moily and his cabinet colleagues are correct in determining a price. They have applied their judgment. That judgment has been challenged. It is for the court to decide. The issue really is the rhetoric that is being used for a fundamentally complex issue. And if it is a fundamental issue, if energy pricing is a grave concern for everybody, and please don't forget the late Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Mr. Rajshekar Reddy had raised this issue originally even before the Aam Aadmi Party knew of this issue. The fact is that the oil marketing companies are using, state-owned companies are using international pricing to make the Aam Aadmi pay through its nose for petrol and diesel. Why is that issue not being targeted? That is the whole point. Selective targets, shoot and scoot, put the media under question, say that there is an investor in a media channel, so therefore you are all suspect people, and after retirement you joined XYZ, and then create this psychosis of fear, create these questions, and then go to the polls and say, we are the only honest people, everybody else is a chore. That is the problem that the Aam Aadmi Party has.
That's the political view. Siddharth, I want to that's your political view. I want to give Yogendra the final word. Yogendra, the charge will be made. It will be made when you raise Robert Vadra. It will be made today when you have raised Reliance. You target high-profile persons, and you then practice shoot and scoot politics in the hope that some of it will stick. In this particular instance, are you not willing, I come back to it, are you not willing to wait for the Supreme Court to take a stand on it? Or do you believe that the only way in your view or in the view of the Aam Aadmi Party, can Reliance be held accountable according to the Aam Aadmi Party is to order a criminal investigation on an issue which is technical, on an issue which involves policy considerations, on an issue which involves decisions taken at various levels of government?
Rajdeep, shoot, yes, I admit. Scoot, no. But no one would allow us to run away from this. This would be an investigation carried out as by proper routine law of the country, and Supreme Court may or may not wish to take cognizance of that. And if the Supreme Court feels for a moment that this is wrong, they will order it to be shut down. So this is entirely within the law. Concurrent investigations do take place all over the world. I'm surprised that some people are very upset about it. वो हिंदी में कहते हैं वो तिनका वाली कहानी है. I wouldn't say the whole thing. There is this little proverb about tinka. That's probably what is maybe appropriate here. I think the larger question, yes, it's a very complex matter. Yes, it's not for people like me to finally say it should be 8.5 and not 8.3. No, we are not competent to do this. But in that very complex story, there are one or two very simple strands, which is that here is a contract which held for 17 years. The company which is not the owner of that gas, Rajdeep, you and I are the owner of that gas. This company is not supplying us gas, they are only taking my gas out for me. And therefore international prices are completely irrelevant here. What is relevant? The important simple points of the story are the three. Number one, Reliance is not the owner of this gas. Number two, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely, for everyone. The simple facts of this very complex story are three. Number one, Indian people are owner of this gas. Reliance is only extracting and giving it back to me, my own property. Number two, when Mr. Manishankar Iyer refused to obey orders the wishes of Reliance, he had to go. Mr. Murli Devra came in and he complied. Mr. Jayapal Reddy wanted to go against them, refused to raise the prices, he had to go. Mr. Moily comes. Despite objections from Finance Minister, Mr. Moily obeys, and just before leaving, what business does this government have to issue about changing gas prices from 1st of April when their term is nearly ending? So the simple facts of this very complex story are political facts. These are facts about a government being arm twisted by certain corporate interests, and the biggest political competitor, the principal opposition of this country, the BJP, keeping silent. That is also a big fact. I'm glad someone has spoken.
It's a political battle.
Let's be clear.
Therefore, I think it is, at the end of the day, you have conceded it is a political battle that you are fighting. You believe that by taking on the Ambanis, you feel that you will get the kind of space, both in the media and perhaps politically, to maybe make your point that you stand up.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, Rajdeep.
Well, okay.
I have only said that this is the biggest scam against which neither the ruling party obviously doesn't speak, even the principal opposition does not have the courage to speak. We are speaking about it. If you call this politics, I concede it is politics.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to leave our viewers to judge whether this is politics or whether this is, at the end of the day, about requiring a serious investigation into gas pricing. Siddharth Zarabi, Mr. Joshi and Yogendra Yadav, appreciate your joining us. We will look at some of the technical points also. Welcome back now to our latest public interest initiative. CNN, IBN and IBN7 have partnered with the Tata Group to launch a campaign today called the Power of 49 in this election year. Through this campaign, we speak to women voters about their concerns. We aim to provide them with a platform here on this network to raise their voice and, importantly, to go out and vote on issues that concern them. That's right. That is the big campaign that we've launched here on CNN IBN. Joining me now, two very special guests. I'm joined by Dr. Mukund Rajan, and I'm also joined by more representatives from Tata's who are joining us at the moment. First, you, Dr. Rajan. The big question, of course, is the Delhi Braveheart case that initiated such a campaign. Is that what set about your decision to come out with such a campaign to target the woman voter, to make her, in a sense, the center of your Jagore campaign this year?
Well, certainly that has had some impact on our thinking about these issues. You know, some of the statistics that you see about the condition of women in Indian society that have been thrown into relief, particularly over the last year, are quite staggering. Let me cite some of these numbers. There's supposed to be a rape case happening every 20 minutes in India. If you look at the power structure, we have only 5% of women who are directors on boards of companies in the BSE top 100. If you look at parliamentarians, you have around 11% of parliamentarians who are women. So clearly, I think issues like what happened last year in Delhi have thrown some of these statistics into great relief and have had some bearing on what we've decided to do this year. I think it's a very timely development to really focus on an issue like the Power of 49.
Apart from Mr. Rajan, I also am joined by Mr. Sanjeev Sareen, Regional President, South Asia of Tata Global Beverages. Now, Sanjeev Sareen, Jagore was an enormously successful campaign when you started it. You raised the issue of corruption. Moving to the Power of 49, was that a logical next step to start the next public interest campaign? Do you think that there is need for a campaign like this? Will it really make a difference?
If you look at the campaigns, Jagore, the way they have originated, if you go back to 2007 when it kicked off, where we actually went to the consumer and said, don't just wake up, awaken. It is to make people socially conscious of whatever actions they are taking. And the first campaign we ran was to hold politicians accountable. And then we went into the voter registration. And then from there we moved to corruption. So what I'm trying to get across is that Jagore has this innate ability to pick up trends which are causing ferment with people at a particular moment of time.
You know, Mukund Rajan, how important is it today for brands, though, to come up with such initiatives? I know that Tata has had a long history of corporate social responsibility, but that's the latest buzzword in corporate India. Do you believe that these public campaigns are now essential for every brand, and every corporate now needs to associate with some corporate social responsibility campaign?
To an extent, it certainly is. I mean, if you think back to the origins of our group, I think back to the late 19th century when in the Tata textile mills, for the first time, creches were provided for women employees. So fast forward to the early 1920s, Tata Steel was the first company to offer maternity leave benefits. So it's been very much a part of the group's ethos to think about the community, our role in the community. And whenever issues like this have come up, we've been keen to be associated with the way in which we need to think about resolving these issues. So it's very much a part of our ethos and certainly plays to our philosophy of corporate social responsibility as well.
Sanjeev Sari, Indian women, yes, 49% of the population, that's where presumably power of 49, of course, comes from. But let's be clear, they aren't a homogeneous group, You will have a woman who works in as a laborer, you will have a woman who works in a corporate boardroom. How do you, through this campaign, expect to bring them together to raise the kind of issues and make this some kind of a political platform for women to have their voice heard?
True, Rajdeep. So if you look at the way the campaign is structured, we have a cross-section of support from media houses which are coming in. So we have TV anchors reaching a particular kind of Indian woman. We have the bahus from a cross-section of soap channels, GEC channels who are coming in to address a particular kind of woman, a different reach. So each one will communicate with a potential viewer who they relate to. In addition to this, we also have a digital piece where probably the youth will engage with. So different parts of media are being used with different anchors who the end consumer will relate to.
I'm going to ask one final question to you, Dr. Rajan. The fact is that yes, we have women, we want more women politicians. That's also, I presume, part of the aim. But how do you get more women in boardrooms? How are we going to see, when are we going to see more women perhaps as directors of Tata Sons? When am I going to see that women are actually going to play a more powerful role in actual decision making, are going to be in actual decision making positions in the corporate world, not just in politics?
Yes, you are absolutely right, Rajdeep. And that is one of the things where the group is very conscious about it. In fact, the chairman himself has made a statement a couple of months back on the importance of getting women into positions of responsibility. And we as a corporate are also equally concerned about that and moving in that direction.
Okay, I'm going to give Dr. Rajan, the exercising the power of women. Do you believe that that vote itself will be enough to change the power of Indian women? Do you believe that that will force our political system to recognize that women have issues that need to be urgently addressed in this country?
Oh, absolutely. I think you're seeing the power of crowds these days, right? The Arab Spring is a good example of that. When you can get a large number of people to believe that they have the power to change things, and you give them the confidence that the issues that they're looking at are not unique to each and every individual, they are things that are common across people, then you get them to really rally and come forward. So I think our expectation is that as women get the confidence to table the issues that matter to them, as they see that more and more women have the same issues and they all converge in the need to find solutions, you will find them demonstrating their requirement for solutions and asking the political party system to develop solutions for them. So I think it's important that they ask for this and that the parties become responsive to their needs.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, Dr. Rajan. Mr. Sareen, let me say it's a great privilege for us at CNN, IBN and Network 18 to join hands with the Tata Sons Group on the power of 49. You will see that unveil over the next few weeks as we will try and build up consciousness over issues concerning the Indian woman and yes, getting the Indian woman to come and cast her vote. Up next on Face the People, the other big issue tonight, Wendy Doniger's The Hindus. That book has been withdrawn, is withdrawing a book, the right way to express disagreement with its contents. That debate coming up in a moment on Face the People. For all those who've been watching India at 9, thanks for watching. Good night. Goodbye.